How's it going, everybody? Welcome to Kinda Gaming Podcast. I'm gonna redo that.
Okay.
I was listening to a different podcast and I had their intro in my head.
That's why I was like, you're kind of pausing there a little bit.
Yep.
Did you forget our name? The name of our
Yes,
podcast?
yes. I was gonna say the Wolf Den Live.
You know what? Let's just start it from here. Welcome everybody to the Kinda Gaming Podcast.
Welcome everybody to the Kinda Gaming Podcast. The second one.
If you can't tell, we haven't had a lot of sleep this week.
No, we haven't.
Just getting everything going.
Yeah, we are. This is our second time recording this second episode. We're getting better at trying to take one takes, but we haven't gotten there yet. But first, we'd like to start off with interesting things that is happening in the game sphere this week. This is part of the show where we're going to talk about one or two things that caught our eye or something just to kind of keep you in the loop as weeks, come. So for me, one thing that came out this past week is it's Super Mario's 35th anniversary. I was actually wondering personally what they were going to do. Like, I feel like a lot of these more classic companies like Nintendo do stuff for their characters. So I was anticipating something cool, maybe a cool game or something. Well, they came out with a bundle. You could get Mario 64, you can get Mario Sunshine, and Mario Galaxy. So one was on the Nintendo 64, one was on the GameCube, and one was on the Wii. All for $60, like one package, all for $60, and it's coming out in 2 weeks. Which is kind of crazy to me that's happening. Normally games like that, especially with like a big character, get like long marketing campaigns.
2 weeks
like,
is a really quick turnaround.
Yeah, they're coming out with the game in 2 weeks. Obviously they've been working on it for a while. Nintendo's been pretty quiet, and as a Nintendo fan, it's been kind of weird not really hearing anything about anything really this whole summer. Obviously 2020 is weird. So that's kind of been what they've been kind of giving fans, I guess, like, hey, due to COVID or whatever, like, we're not able to do this or that, which has been fine. But then 2 weeks to come out with a pretty big game, and it's a limited run game. So they're like, we're selling it September 18th till March 31st, and that's it. You can't buy it after that.
Oh, really?
It's kind of crazy. Yes. So that's why it's really interesting to me. I don't know if that package deal is 3 games for $60 and 3 of their like iconic games. It's a 3D Mario game.
Is that coming out on the Switch, or how are they doing that?
Yeah, it's coming out on the Switch. You could buy it digitally, obviously. I don't know why I said it that way. You could
digitally. That's a little tough to say.
Yeah, you could buy it on their eShop, or you could buy it physically. So it'd be interesting to see how that works. And I think it kind of makes sense that they only want to sell it for a limited time, because that's 3 games that are definitely worth, I think, $20 to $30 each. And if you might devalue your character or your game if you do that. I don't know. Maybe that's kind of above, what I've been able to think in business so far.
Anyways, most of the time those games at this point, like, no one really has a Wii anymore, unless you're just saving it because you're like, oh, I want a Wii, but Switch basically does the same thing. So, and there was the Wii U, so it's like, why would you still have a Wii? So you probably wouldn't be playing Mario Galaxy on a Wii right now. So I kind of get that. And then a lot of people do have 64s, so I think that's a little more pertinent, but probably getting Mario 64 is probably going to run you $30 for a cartridge.
Which I have Mario 64, and it ran me about $15.
Okay, so not as bad as I thought.
No, I was but I had to like hunt for it because it was like the $30 and stuff online. But I think they're trying to sell it for right now, and then maybe later sell it again. I think that's why.
Yeah.
They're going to repackage it or something. So, anyways, that's kind of what I found interesting this week. Nintendo finally said something about something. Man, it's a pretty big deal. And you probably start seeing, like, this game isn't the only thing. They're doing, like, a bunch of board games. They're doing a bunch of, like, merch. They're doing collabs with Levi's. Levi's came out with like $145 jean jacket with a Mario behind it.
That's
so just
cool.
been, yeah. And they came out Puma shoes. So if you're a Mario fan, it's probably nice to see some things around and that you could buy.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to be able to play Mario Galaxy again, because I remember that was like such a fun game and I really enjoyed it, which I loved Odyssey. That was on the Switch. So, and I remember it being kind of like playing Odyssey, thinking, oh, this is a lot like I remember Mario Galaxy playing on the Wii. So I'm like, I want to kind of play again just to see the similarities or differences between those games, because I think it'd be cool to see that, because it's been so long since I played Galaxy that remind me of it, but I couldn't be able to compare and be like, oh, these are like super similar or not.
There's a few interesting things they're going to do, even the aspect ratio. So like N64 wasn't in widescreen. It was like, for CRT TVs.
Right.
So it'll be interesting to kind of see how that translates over. And then Mario Sunshine used analog triggers. So like, we won't get into it now, but basically how hard you press on your triggers on the GameCube, that's how hard one of the mechanics work in the game, which is his like little flood machine. But the Switch doesn't have that. Those are digital triggers. Like when you press it, it's just a press.
Right.
So it'll be interesting to kind of see how that all pans out and stuff. But yeah, that's this week, at least for Mario, and kind of what I saw. You have anything, Jake?
Yeah, which again, super excited for the Mario games. That'll be super fun. Yeah, this week I think what's kind of been cool is like kind of watching a little bit of mine's a little different. Yours is about a game. Mine's kind of about a legal battle that's happening in the realm of video games right now. Kind of a big topic of conversation going on is Epic Games versus Apple. Epic Games are the studio that creates games like Fortnite. So Fortnite's probably the biggest game. Probably most people, even if you're not into gaming, have heard of Fortnite at some point, which Epic Games makes. Basically, they're having a legal battle with Apple over App Store commissions. And what that has to do with is that how Epic Games and how Fortnite makes money. Fortnite is completely free to play. If you download Fortnite, you don't have to pay any money. You just download the game, you can play it and play with your friends, do everything, don't have to pay anything. How people make money in Fortnite is that people buy things in the game. So they use microtransactions and they buy skins, dances, all kinds of like cool cosmetic things you can do in the game. Like last week they released Marvel characters in the game. So you can make your character look like Wolverine or Doctor Doom or Storm. Like you can play as that character in the game.
It's a pretty big deal too.
Yeah, because
they're that collab
partnering with Marvel. So kind of a big deal to get that. And so most times video games don't get collabs like that, which is kind of a big deal as well. But normally you pay like $10 for like a Wolverine skin that you can have on your character. And then that's how Fortnite makes money. They just kind of keep turning that over. You don't have to buy the game, but if you want to buy skins, they're there. They don't force you to buy anything, and they don't affect how you play the game. So you get a skin, makes your character look cool. You can do a dance, but it doesn't give you any advantage in the game. But basically what happens, games that are on the Apple App Store and Google Play Store. So normally if you bought it on a console, like if I just bought the skin on my computer, or Alex, you bought it on your Xbox, money goes directly to Epic Games. That's just normally how it works. There's no middleman. Now, in order for Fortnite to be on your iPhone, in order for me to make a microtransaction in Fortnite on my iPhone, Apple takes 30% of anything paid for that's in the App Store.
And they do that for every app.
Yep.
Not just Fortnite. Anything that has an in-app purchase, they're taking 30%.
Yeah, so that's why you're pretty much forced to use Apple Pay whenever you want to buy stuff in-app now. Like any subscriptions to apps and stuff now all goes through Apple Pay, is because Apple is taking that 30% commission right off the top of that. And you're like, is that a lot of money? Yes. So if you think about a $10 skin, $3 goes right to Apple. That doesn't even the cost of creating the skin, taxes, like all that's going into it. So it does take off a good bit of money that they could be making. And then kind of the story behind this is that Epic has a lot of money. So a lot of people wouldn't think, oh, Epic like needs all this money. I mean, this makes, I think they reported, and again, it's not IPO or anything like that. Like the company's not public, so we can't get like actual revenue like reports. but it's estimated that more than $1 billion was spent in-game in Fortnite last year. $1 billion, which is insane to think about.
Yeah, it's
for a game.
That's so much money. That's free.
That's no sales. This is no sales of the game. Like, people get the game
just
for free.
Microtransactions.
This is just microtransactions in the game, over $1 billion in revenue, which is insane. Like, intrinsically, you get nothing. You just get a cool skin in the game. Fortnite, like, it's not a product or anything. You just buy cosmetic items in the game, which is crazy to think that they were pulling in that much money off that. So Fortnite is a multi-billion-dollar company, not Fortnite, Epic. So they have plenty of money, so they could afford the 30% and be fine, because everywhere else is going directly to them. It's not taking away like Apple is. But a lot of times what happens, if you're a smaller developer, you have an app on the App Store, your app costs $3, 30% of that $3 purchase of your app is going to Apple.
And let's bring this stat in here, okay? So Apple's App Store last year made $50 billion. The App Store. You remember, the App Store is free to download.
Yep.
But since they take 30% of every in-app purchase, so how much did we say Fortnite makes on their
$1 billion microtransactions overall as a whole, not just Apple
not
sales,
just
but
not just Apple sales, but so Fortnite makes $1 billion, which is insane. Now the App Store makes $50 billion.
Yeah.
because of how many that's not just paid apps or whatever. That's also those, but that's microtransactions as well. So that's what you got to kind of think about, is that's how, Apple's making $50 billion just the App Store, not phone sales, not anything else.
And then they're not making anything. They're just hosting apps. So, like, that's it.
Yeah.
They're literally hosting apps that you can download on your phone. Like, they don't provide a service or a product, and they're taking 30% and making big bucks. So, basically, Fortnite or Epic Games is not happy about that. And a lot of times for smaller developers, like we were talking about, that's hard when you're making a game. You have to put all your money behind it. It costs $3 on the App Store, and there's already 30% coming off that, which is that's 90 cents coming off your game. So you're selling your game for $2.10. You got to think about taxes, how much it costs to make the game, all your employees. Like, I mean, that's a lot. That's not much in revenue you're going to be able to make off that.
Right. So you're really hoping for volume.
Yeah.
And that's why you see some of these games that are just kind of like Bejeweled or Candy Crush or whatever these simple games are, because that has a more mass appeal as opposed to a game that has like heart in it or something, which I'm not saying those don't have heart. Actually, I am saying those don't have heart, because it really doesn't take much to do a puzzle game. That's why puzzle games make so much money, is because it has like a mass appeal. So maybe someone creative or wanting to create a game artistically wise can't really do that because it won't make them money, especially in the App Store. And what sucks, I think, is that a lot of these companies, like we were just talking about Epic, but a lot of these smaller companies, they kind of need to get on a phone because that's the biggest market, consumer market, that they could kind of put their software in front of. Not everyone's going to go to a desktop and download a game. We do, right? And some of you do. You guys love PC games and stuff. But I mean, I genuinely like cell phone games. I enjoy, the few that I have. I have like 3 or 4. I mainly play 2, but I have a few that I bounce around to. And if it's a smaller developer, I would want to support them, but I don't want to spend. I don't know. It's one of those catch-22s, right?
Yeah, and then I think I saw a cool stat like 2 weeks ago. I think they said that there was like over 2 billion gamers in the world, like 2 billion people that actively play games, and then half were mobile. So that's 1 billion people who are playing games on App Store. Mm-hmm. So you think like mobile games would be more advanced by now, or at least kind of like a little more up to par with kind of console gaming, or just because so many people play that and so much would go into that. Right. But it's always lagged behind by a good bit, which phones, like the growth of the technology is pretty great lately. Mm-hmm. But still it has like catching up to do. But developers don't really invest in phones as much because of these like commissions and stuff like that you wouldn't get selling on a PC or something like that.
Right.
So basically Fortnite is kind of the start to like, okay, like let's rethink this. And that's what Epic is trying to do in this moment, is like, hey guys, let's kind of rethink what's happening here. So what they did is they basically released an update that they had a way to get around paying the Apple Pay in order to buy in-app currency, which are V-Bucks.
Right.
So you could buy V-Bucks directly from Epic instead of from Apple, and which went against Apple's terms of service for developers. So when that happened, Apple said, hey, if you don't change this, we're going to take this off the App Store. And Epic was like, no, that's not fair. Like, we're not going to change it. Like, you need to change your policy. I think it was like they had 2 weeks to do an update to fix that. They didn't. So Apple made through on their promise, took it off the App Store. And that same day, Apple booted Fortnite off the App Store. Epic filed an antitrust suit. So immediate lawsuit as soon, which if you know anything about legal,
Epic knew.
Yeah. Legal stuff does not happen quick.
Ready.
So Epic
they
was
were ready for this,
ready to go as soon as this happened. So they wanted it to be kicked off.
Yeah, and immediately, I think, if I remember correctly, Epic mobilized their fan base.
Yes,
to
the whole famous commercial where they copied the 1984 Apple ad, and in the Fortnite game where they just like busted the screen and there was the Apple talking, and there's a lot of reference to Apple there without it being Apple, but you knew.
Yeah, and so it's interesting to kind of see, and they Epic, when I say they, Epic took the stand of like pro-consumer, right? Because they changed the prices and everything was cut by 20% in the store, and their marketing was like, it's cut forever. It's not just like a sale. Like, this is our new prices.
Yeah. And they did that when they added the way to buy V-Bucks directly. They lowered the price of everything in their store.
Right. And because they were going to get a straight cut, which kind of tells you that a lot of these purchases probably come from online or probably come from mobile.
Yeah.
If they were able to make this call, because if you think about it, because this game is also cross-platform, like cross-save progression, so you could, my profile, Shark Prime, on my Switch, also I could log in on my phone, right?
Yeah.
And I can make a purchase if I'm like at work or something on my phone, quick, and then it'll be in the shop when I get home, instead of me having to log into the shop or log into my Switch, and then buying it there. I could just be like, oh, I wonder what's today. People are probably doing that.
Yeah, true. Because your transactions carry over into each game. So if you play Fortnite on Xbox and you bought it on iPhone, it would carry over. So it'd be interesting to think if you were you wanted the skin, since the skins are limited and they only last a day. So if you wanted the skin that day and only you had your phone, that 30% went to Apple, instead of if you just waited to buy it on your Xbox, it all went to Epic. So there's a lot of stuff going there that can kind of play into the revenue and whatnot, which on top of that, so whenever they pulled it off, they filed the antitrust. Apple tried to come back and then remove other things that Epic makes. Like Epic makes the Unreal Engine, which is like one of the biggest gaming development software engines out there. Like most games,
for other developers or indie developers,
most games made today are made on the Unreal Engine, which is free for developers to use, which is
that's cool,
awesome, and that's something Epic does. So Epic's always been pro-consumer with this kind of stuff and just pro game developers. So that's what they're kind of pushing here. Obviously, they're going to have some skin in the game here, because if they want to control what goes on your phone directly, they don't want to have to worry about paying commissions or Apple coming in and saying, no, you can't add this feature because of this. So that's what they're kind of fighting here. But when they tried to do, so basically there was a hearing because Epic tried to file a restraining order against Apple to block them from taking all the apps off the App Store, which the judge sided with Apple on Fortnite because it was Epic's fault because they released the update, which went against the terms of use agreement. But with the Unreal Engine, the judge sided with Epic because they said that's a little bit of a stretch because there was nothing wrong with the Unreal Engine. Apple was just trying to get back at Epic.
See, and this is when like corporations are going at it, is when they're using consumers as bargaining chips.
Yep.
Right. So Apple, or Epic, which is Fortnite. So every time we say Epic, we're talking about Fortnite because the same parent company. Epic mobilized their consumers, right? And they're like, basically, like, if you take us off, you're losing these customers. And Apple's like, who cares? And then Apple, on the other hand, was saying, okay, you're gonna lose all your developers, Epic. We're gonna shut down the Unreal Engine on our on our app store, anybody using it. And so they're using game developers as bargaining chips. So the fact that they're just, it reminds me of watching Power Rangers when I was a kid, and I saw like the giant mechs versus like the giant monster, right? They're just like slugging it out, and people are just like on the sidelines watching.
It's like who would win, a bear or a gorilla?
Yeah, it's just like a giant, like these two corporate giants just fighting it out, and maybe some debris falls on some civilians. We don't know.
Which is also cool because there's some sharks getting in the mix of this. There's some other large animals getting in here because Microsoft actually took Epic's side in this, and Microsoft is trying to fight with Epic to get Apple to lower that as well. And then also like there's publications that are siding with Epic as well. I know
Sonos is siding with Epic.
Yep, the Wall Street Journal stuck up for the New York Times. So like it's a lot of people are sticking up for Epic in this, which
because at the end of the day, it does seem more pro consumer.
Yeah,
like pro us. Lower prices is great. It kind of gives some competition when it comes to games or where to get your games. And I think the hill that Epic is dying on is that Apple has a monopoly. Like you can't get any app on the iPhone, and the iPhone counts for like 43% of all phones in the US, let alone the world, which is probably a little bigger, or around the same percentage at least. But anyways, like at least on Android, you could sideload, so you don't have to go through the Google Play Store. You could go to Samsung, right? I think we discussed one time that Samsung has their own app store. You could sideload apps directly from websites, so it's not really like
as big deal on Android.
Yeah, it's still there because Google really pushes their app store.
Google did side with Apple, so Google is trying to push. We want our commission, so
because they get about 30. Is that it? Do they also get 30%? They
charge 30% as well.
Yeah, so. Anyways, you'll see these big companies kind of slugging it out, picking sides and stuff. I think Epic's thing is like, I don't think they're asking for no commissions. I just think they're asking for lower commissions.
Yeah. Well, Epic has their own store, and at their store, they charge 12% commission on the games that are sold there. Not bad. So, I mean, which seems a lot more reasonable. So I'm like, yeah, they're not trying to be like no commissions at all, but they're like, which I appreciate because they're like, hey, look, we do it this way. And like this is the way we believe it should be, so we're actually going to implement it. So they do what they preach. Like they don't just talk and then charge 30% on their store. So
which is cool. It definitely will be interesting to kind of see how this all unfolds because I feel like every week there's something new to the story.
Next hearing I believe is September 28th. So that'll be like the actual like trial. Start the trial, so that'll be the date to look out for.
I mean, we won't get into it this podcast. I think we're running short on time, but this has kind of been something that's been a growing concern for consumers of anything. Like gaming for sure, I think that's the number one thing, but like any microtransactions going forward. I mean, my father-in-law, who doesn't play video games at all, knows about this suit. So it'll be interesting to kind of see how this moves forward and how it will affect other companies. Even something we didn't touch on was that Apple was trying to spin it to be like Epic just wants to be, given special treatment. We don't give special treatment, which is a lie because Amazon has a special agreement with Apple that every in-app purchase is only 10%.
Yep.
Which is crazy. So the big guys helping the big guys, I guess.
Yep.
If you rent a movie on Prime on your iPhone, Apple doesn't get any cut of that. So the fact that they're even helping a bigger company, obviously I think Epic kind of probably heard or caught wind of that.
Probably.
And was like, well, why aren't they doing that for us? And then decided to make it more of like a hill to die on and kind of get everybody there. Yeah. Which is cool. And it'll definitely help. Again, we were talking about, game developers and stuff earlier on. And I I mean, I said this last podcast. My dad plays mobile games. I play mobile games. I know there's plenty of people who play mobile games. One of my buddies that just came over today, he plays a mobile game, and he really wants a console, but right now it's fine because he has a mobile game.
Yeah.
And it's kind of filling that void. He kind of equates it, or earlier today, he equated it to having like a Game Boy. Very similar. It's a simple game. Obviously, your phone's a lot more powerful than a Game Boy. But
yet, still doesn't feel the same.
No, it doesn't feel the same.
Yeah, it's like, I feel like I'd rather play on a Game Boy than my phone.
Yeah, I know. It's. I think humans are kind of weird that way. We want a dedicated device,
right? Definitely.
Or else everyone would have PCs,
right?
Because it could do a lot. But yeah, let's. With that, we want to hear from you. What do you think about this whole Apple thing? Apple versus Epic thing? Unless, Jake, do you have anything else?
No, I think it's cool to hear like what side you're kind of on this, because I feel like we lean more towards Epic's because it does seem a lot more pro-consumer, stuff like that. But when you see the Apple side, maybe you're like, hey, like corporations, they created that. Like they had to build that company. They had to build that platform. They had to get that many users on their device. They should be able to charge that. I mean...
Yeah, and also I think something that we're not really giving Apple any credit for is the App Store is really nice. It's curated very well. That money goes towards obviously hosting, but it also goes towards making sure everything looks smooth and doesn't, like, I don't worry about malware on my iPhone. I don't worry about like some scammy app on my iPhone taking data away from me. Like Apple's been very pro safety and privacy as well. And I think part of that is having that 30% off the top. It might deter some scammy apps or some scammy things from happening. So I'm not going to be like, this is the best thing ever and Epic's super right. Like there's obviously things that I don't really know about, but I could obviously see in, visiting the App Store. I don't visit it too regularly, but when I do, I know I'm not going to be ripped off. You know what I mean? Or maybe I might not be ripped off. I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if there is a super clear line. I lean more towards Epic as well, like we were just talking about, because we're pro-consumer.
Right.
I'm a consumer. I'm a pro. I'm pro gamer. I'm not a pro gamer, but I'm pro gamer. Like I want more games or cooler games or something that'll help a developer. I mean, I like buying indie games, so it kind of helps them.
Yeah, and there's so many developers out there that would love to get started, and there's so much hidden talent and stuff like that. But when you have the most like readily able device, like it's on you all the time, that could play games and people could invest in that and doing that, when you're losing 30% of what you could be making, that really deters some people who could be like, that could be the person making the next big game and be able to get it on your phone. But because 30% is taken off, it's not worth the time or money. So it's kind of like just making that better for people and then opening up more opportunities for developers in the future. And then us as consumers, because we get better products and games out there, and then we don't have to pay as much because look at Epic. They're like, oh, the prices are cheaper. We'll charge our stuff cheaper. So, yeah.
Well, let us know what side you're on, and let us know if you even play mobile games. That'd be interesting to kind of get the consensus of does somebody play mobile games? Do they even care? Do you spend money in mobile games? I know a lot of people, including myself for a while, was very like, I'm not spending a dime on this game. It was free and I'm going to keep it free. Because a lot of these games, a lot of the good games, they reward you, just for playing. So it'd be interesting to hear your thoughts and I guess your side that you're picking.
Yeah, definitely. Like, let us know. DM us, message us, comment on our stuff. Let us know. Like, be like, hey, you're totally wrong. Apple's the best. Or be like, no, Epic's the best. Like, Apple's stupid. Like, just let us know. You don't have to let us know like that, but just let us know.
You can.
You can if you want to.
But anyways, yeah, we're kind of gaming. You can find us on a bunch of social channels: YouTube, Facebook, Instagram.
We're on all the things. Twitter,
TikTok.
Yeah,
Twitter.
We're everywhere.
I said TikTok already.
Yeah, we're building all the things.
All the things.
So yeah, we're going to start streaming soon. We'll be on Twitch, Facebook, and we'll be streaming live. Follow us on Instagram. All the places will be letting you know whenever we go live streaming. That way you can jump on, hang out with us, ask us questions there, talk with us, come play some games, hang out.
Yeah, subscribe on the podcast app of choice and give us a rating.
Yeah.
A good one. Give us a good rating.
Yes, please subscribe and give us reviews and all the fun stuff.
Anyways, that was it for today's podcast. We plan on doing another topic, but we spent 30 minutes doing this. So
stay tuned for the next one.
Yeah, next one. All right. My name is Alex.
And I'm Jake.
And we'll see you next time.